And on the bench for Rovers this evening is 1 Thomas Kalinski, 3 Harry Pickering, 5 Dom Hyan, 7 Teo Eden, 10 Tyrese Dolan, 11 Joe Rankin Costello, 21 John Buckley, 22 Ben Brereton Diaz, and 23 is
But it's the first game. Come on!
Equalising for Rovers, number 16, Scott Walton!
Bringing higher, man. Scotty. It's Scotty, aren't they? So what? I'm first.
Triple goal substitution replacing number 18 Dylan Markander, 33 Ash Phillips and 36 Adam Walton.
So, just on the drive home after Rovers bow out of the Carabao Cup with a 4-1 home defeat to Nottingham Forest. I think the timing of today's game was particularly poor for us anyway. Obviously, Forest, haven't played a game since before the World Cup. What's obviously, practically a month ago now, maybe even longer at this point. It's been that long since the Premier League was put to a halt due to the World Cup, and obviously I think that massively played into their hands. You look at the team they put out today, it was practically a first team. Obviously there were a few changes here and there, but a very strong team. Obviously Forest, the team who made 20 odd signings in the summer, and probably the last team you really wanted to come up against with such squad depth, really. And all those players obviously have had all the time in the world to prepare for this game and be ready for this game. And as well as that, they brought really good numbers tonight. Fair play to them. The tickets were cheap. £10 for adults, £5 for concessions, £2 for kids. So you can expect it, really. Obviously, when it's been so long since they've been able to see a game, you would think they'd come in good numbers. And they were pretty vocal for most of the match, other than when it was 1-1. That did quieten them down a little bit. But on a whole, they were a good set of fans tonight, to be fair to them. In terms of Rovers, quite poor numbers from us on the night, and a very, very, very weak squad. Weaker than we've put out even in the earlier rounds, to be honest. No Dak, whatnot. Obviously Dak getting back into the team is obviously a good thing for the first team, but has obviously hindered our chances tonight. And it were a very weak side tonight. It weren't even a second team, that. And fair play to us, because first half I do genuinely think, not being biased, that we were the better side. You know, they got a penalty, which was a really poor mistake from Adam Wharton, and I think Scott Wharton basically tries to cover his brother's arse, takes him out, and you know, Johnson tucks away the penalty nicely, shushes the fans behind the goal who were trying to put him off, and then next thing you know, Adam Wharton's assisting his brother at the end of the second half. Perfect timing really for an equaliser, and all is forgiven at that point really. You know, obviously the man who gave away the penalty, the man who gave away the ball, assisting the man who gave away the penalty, and we were rocking at that point. And to be honest, even before the goal, we looked the better side, to be honest. You know, we weren't creating too many chances, but we were controlling the game quite well. We were threatening, and I'd say we deserved to be 1-1 at half time, to be honest. But second half, you know, again, we weren't awful, but we just didn't have anything in open play going forwards really. And obviously Notts Forest had the quality on the pitch, and we didn't have the quality on the pitch. And other than a few really good saves from Pears, fair play to him. It's probably the best performance I've seen from Pears, to be honest, tonight. You know, the fact he got man of the match despite conceding 4 says it all really. You know, a good, I mean, Lingard breaks away a really sloppy pass from Garrett. But at the end of the day, these are kids, and you know, when you're playing up against Premier League, it was a Premier League side tonight we were playing up against. It weren't like Notts Forest had put out the kids. You know, it were Premier League opposition. They've got Jesse Lingard on the pitch who were playing Champions League football last season on 200 grand a week, more than probably, well, definitely more than our entire squad. There's no probably about it. He will be on more than our entire squad, to be honest with you. So there's levels, isn't there? You know, Jesse Lingard through on the transition. Scott Wharton takes him out. He was lucky not to see red, to be honest with you. And then takes a deflection, the free kick, and it goes in. Jesse Lingard milks it up with his dancing against second, third string Rovers team. But that is who he is, I guess. And yeah, so from that point really, you know, we were still fretting. It still looked like we're in the game. Really soft foul, and the ref doesn't give it for Forest. Let's play continue. He does give it rather for Forest. Gets tapped in the back, their right back, and he goes down like a sack of shit. And then a minute later, Dolan gets sandwiched between 2 players. Obviously a foul. The ref doesn't give it. They go down the other end at pitch and they score. And at that point, it's game over. It's 3-1. Dolan then gets injured. Diaz comes on, and 4-1, game over, if it weren't already. And yeah, shame really, because it's been a good cup run, and it was a game we probably deserved something from the first half, but the second half just killed us really with that decision. You know, we could have took it down to the last 10, brought Diaz on, and maybe had a similar sort of thing what happened at West Ham. Diaz scoring last minute to make it 2-2, take it to pens. But that decision really killed us, and obviously at 3-1 we're dead and buried at that point. We're a side that doesn't come back. You know, we haven't come back to win a game once in the Championship yet. So we were never coming back from 3-1 against a Premier League side. It's a shame. It's been good results in the Cup. Really good showing for the kids. You know, Hartlepool, Bradford. I went to both of those games. You know, a lot of players have got their chances in these games and took them with both hands. You know, Garrett, for example, coming into the side at Bradford, he was brilliant. Ash Phillips has shown what he can do in these games. Was class against Bradford and Hartlepool. You know, even JRC has had glimpses in the cup and has looked decent, to be fair to him. And Marconde in particular, a massive standout performer tonight for me. I think he desperately needs a move to League One or League Two. I'd probably say League Two, if sending to a high-end League Two side. Let him thrive in a good team. But he looked dangerous tonight, and he was causing their left back all sorts of problems. And this is someone who hasn't had a sniff in the league. You know, out of the team we've seen tonight, I'd be giving Phillips, Marconde, definitely loan moves. I think Edun, come on, he looked really bright yet again, and I feel so hard for him that, you know, Mauler's getting in this team, who, just a word on Mauler, was absolutely tragic tonight. Johnson had him on strings, and Johnson's, you know, is a £30 million player, but it was pathetic from Mauler. It weren't even a challenge for Johnson. Every single time they were targeting Mauler. They didn't go down Travis's side at all. They were just targeting Mauler, and he was so high. His positioning was awful, and it's no surprise he got dragged off at half time. That says it all, really. The fact he'd been dragged off at half time, that's how bad he was. And yeah, really embarrassing and amateur stuff from him. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind him and Hurst cancelling their loans and freeing up spaces for 2 other loans for whoever we can get our hands on, because obviously you're only allowed so many loans. But yeah, neither of those signings have worked. You know, we got options to buy on both of them, and thankfully we didn't buy either of them because they've been both complete duds. You know, Mauler, Burnley has completely killed him, basically, being chucked in at the deep end. From all accounts, he were brilliant in the West Ham match. But the Burnley away game, you know, he was chucked in the deep end that day, and I think he's completely lost it since then. I think that, especially that final 10 minutes, you know, he's flying into tackles and whatnot. It's just completely killed him. But, you know, these are the things. You need to bounce back as a professional footballer. You can't have, you know, you gotta bounce back if you wanna make it. And you know, he's been chucked into the side after Britton goes off injured against Preston, and was awful again, and was absolutely embarrassing today. And yeah, dragged off at half time. So I can't see a future here for Mauler, definitely not. Hurst tonight didn't have anything to go off, to be fair. You know, was literally working off scraps, had absolutely nothing all game in terms of open play from us. You know, our goal was scored from a free kick, and that was the only times we looked threatening, to be honest. But maybe we can afford Hurst a bit more time, but in terms of Mauler right now, I can't see any way back for him. Obviously with Hurst, the penalty miss at Birmingham was the thing for him, weren't it? Was it? No, not Cardiff, sorry, not Birmingham. You know, that's completely killed his confidence as well, but I think he's starting to bounce back now from that. You know, got himself a couple of goals in Marbella in the pre-season tour against Hearts. And maybe we could see some good come of Hurst, but I can't see it personally. You know, when you go that long without scoring a goal. Oh. When you go that long without scoring a goal, it's one of those, isn't it? Yeah, as a striker in particular, you don't want to be going that long without scoring a goal, do you? And the longer it goes, the bigger that monkey gets on your back of him not scoring a goal. So yeah, hopefully he can change his fortunes, but I can't see it personally, and I would rather get someone in, because if Gallagher or Diaz gets injured, you do worry for us in particular. But yeah, shame really the result tonight. Don't think it was a bad performance from the boys. I think it was just that Pears got man of the match. If not, I would have given it Marconde. But to say he conceded 4 and he got man of the match says it all really. In terms of the quality of their goals, there was nothing we could really do about them. And he pulled off a few good saves, to be fair. So I do think we're in good hands if Kaminski was to get injured. He really impressed me tonight. Much more impressive than that display almost a year ago against Wigan in the FA Cup. Not one to remember at all. So yeah, on to Boxing Day, I guess. Hopefully we can carry on and take that win. A really good win from Norwich. My thoughts on that, obviously I didn't get a chance to do a post-match thoughts from that game, but was really impressed with us, the way we bounced back. I was really happy with the wholesale changes in the team. I think we needed that, similar to after we got spanked by Fulham 7-1. We needed those wholesale changes against Sheffield United, and we won that game 3-1, didn't we, last season? And I think that's a similar sort of result, really, going to Norwich and beating them 2-0. Doing well in the league. Obviously their fans were a bit fed up with Dean Smith, but you can't sniff at the fact we've gone there and got a result, considering our away form really isn't good either this season. But yeah, the changes needed to be made. Dak in the team, Buckley in the team, even JRC. Apparently, I watched the second half, missed the first half unfortunately, but had a really good game, looked solid, and I was thinking after Stoke at home he were finished, to be honest, because he absolutely stumped the place out that day, giving away the goal and dragged off at half time yet again. But no, first full 90 minutes for JRC for probably over a year, so fair play to him. And he, so many of us players have took their chances which they were craving, and hopefully the players who've been dropped have been given a kick up the arse that they needed, to be honest. Your Travis's tonight, he looked quite decent, to be fair, at right back. I feel like he needed that reality check, because he's been staying in the team really just because of the armband, if we're honest. So hopefully better things to come. Hopefully we can do the double over Mowbray, and stay where we are. We're in such a good position at the minute. I think it's farcical the fact fans were giving JDT so much crap after, albeit the 2 worst times to get such poor results and poor performances against almost bitter of rivals, Burnley and Preston. But at the end of the day, that doesn't change the fact we're 3rd in the league with a shoestring budget, a team full of kids from our youth academy, and look at the teams who were above: Watford, Norwich, teams who were in the Prem last season. It's not even mentioning Middlesbrough and West Brom, who were way off it. So fair play to us, and hopefully this can be the season where we can finally get top 6 for the first time in a decade. So yeah, cheers for watching, guys. A bit of a longer ramble than usual. Still stuck in traffic, 15 minutes. And it does appear to actually be moving now, thankfully. So wish me luck, and hopefully I get home soon.